Hi everyone, my name's Rochelle and I just wanted to jump in here and just do a quick little reading for everyone, just a little bit of guidance and yeah, so just a quick little reset. All right, just always ask for your reading to be blessed, even if you're just going to be jumping online. It's important to just call in the right energy that's going to assist you and be around you. All right, so I'm not the world's best shuffler, so this is how I shuffle, but it works. I'm just going to grab 3 cards for now. All right. Okay, so the first card is renewal and rebirth, which is like the beautiful phoenix. These cards are stunning, they're beautiful illustrations. And obviously the rebirth and renewal, well, tonight is full moon. It's the last full moon of the year. And obviously we're just heading to the end of the year and about to enter a new year. So renewal and rebirth. And even tonight, for if there's anything that you want to clear and sort of help with the path forward for next year, and anything that you want to release. This year I found has been a lot of growth for people, and it hasn't even necessarily been a doing year. I found it's been a clearing year. So even when you think that not much is going on, there's actually lots going on underneath the surface, and lots of things that have been coming up for so many people to clear and to let go of. So yeah, so clear it. And creativity, so that's a beautiful card too. And creativity is exactly that, you know, dance, music, writing, expressing, you know, whatever comes to you that equals creativity, that's your jam. That's, you know, they're your talents, they're your skills, they're your gifts. And we really do need to do those things more, especially if you are struggling, you know, or potentially, you know, struggle on occasion with any kind of mental health things. Then I find people that are creative in their brains generally suffer, you know, are generally prone to suffer a little bit more. And what I feel is from that is because, you know, our soul wants to be doing, our soul wants to be creating, our soul wants to expand, and we creativity is an outlet for that. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to make money off it. It was just 333. You don't have to make money off it. You don't even have to show anyone. But at the same time, even with that, I would say they don't have to be so hidden. You know, it doesn't have to be everything just hidden away. You know, share your gifts as well. And and obviously through our pain, sometimes, for me, my thing is writing. So yeah, if I'm sort of wanting to transmute something, then I'll just get a pen and paper and just write, you know, and I might write pages and pages, or I might write a poem, or, you know, I might write down ideas and things like that. Writing ideas down is really important too, because it's one thing to have them circling in your mind. It's another thing to put them down on paper and even date it. So I would say date it. So then you know, just when you're going back over things, you've got a drawing point that you can sort of go, oh, cool. And then you can sort of go, like, I've wrote things before, and I think, wow, I wrote that in 2017, you know, or something like that. It was just 444. And then I did have to pull myself up a little bit in the past, because there was times in the past that I might have wrote down things that goals or things that I'm aspiring to do or to be and things like that, and maybe I haven't quite done that as yet, but it's still in my heart and in my passions and things like that, and things that are still well and truly in the making. So I think I read something that I wrote back in, it was like that 2017, and then I remember thinking in maybe 2020 when I reread it, and I was thinking, I'm still, I still don't feel that I've totally mastered clearing those things as yet. But what I've learned since then is it really, really, really is a journey. Like, it's a journey. So we can't beat ourselves up because there's no, and even with mental health stuff, like, everybody has trauma, everybody has their stuff, and everybody has their story. And those things do pop up, and sometimes those things lay dormant until you may enter a relationship, or you have a new challenge at work, or you get a new job, or you're starting a business venture, or something like that, where you sort of you're sort of upgrading, or going to another level or something like that, and you sort of basically where your ego is getting triggered. So I don't think we can really measure our growth on the things that we're sort of wanting to clear, because in different ways they show back up. But it's not saying you haven't done a lot of healing work, and it's not saying you haven't come a long way. It's just saying that those things, they're in our nervous system, and doing nervous system work, and say maybe somatic shaking or qigong, even just a simple walk, an oldie but a goodie, just going for a simple walk in the morning in the fresh air and the sunlight and the daylight is so beautiful. It's so simple and so powerful. So, and they actually say to go for a walk in the first half an hour of being awake, to turn on your circadian rhythms and to turn off your, I was just going to say amygdala, but no, it's melatonin. You turn off your melatonin, and you turn on the right amounts of cortisol, rather than just like, dropping in whatever caffeine of your choice that we've got going. So, and truth, truth. And interestingly, she's got a sword, and if you can see up close, there's like little peacock feathers in the background. So on a different card that I had the other day was a peacock in the background and on a headpiece, and it was a protection card, and that is right there going right around her. So what I'm seeing that as well is it's safe to speak your truth, and you are protected. You don't have to have your sword up at every given point when it comes to your truth and to sort of defend your truth. Your truth is your truth, and you don't need to necessarily shout it from the rooftops. It can be a quiet confidence, but to speak your truth when those moments arise, and how I feel is most beneficial with that is when we're loving on ourselves, when we have our own back, and when we can, start to fill up our trust bank again with ourselves, then speaking our truth doesn't feel so scary, doesn't feel so foreign. It feels right, and you don't necessarily have to prove that you're right. It is just expressing to whomever, whether it be a parent, a co-worker, a boss, a client, whatever, we can still speak our truth with love and express ourselves rather than suppress ourselves, because suppression equals depression. So we really need to get it up, get it out. And I want to read the bottom of this card. So it says, remain authentic to your core values. Truth can be masked. So be objective when dealing with emotional issues. address issues and areas, address areas in your life that are not achieving your deepest truth. So exactly that, like authenticity is basically your truth. And when you are being authentic to yourself, you are living in your truth. And that is like the magnitude of the power in that, and how you move in the world, and how you can choose to respond in a situation rather than react, is priceless. And literally everybody benefits when you are authentic in yourself, and even when you express your truth. And again, it doesn't have to be a big, showdown. And I don't feel our truth needs to be validated by another, and I don't feel our truth needs to be shared with so much anger or projection and things like that, because that still isn't quite our truth. That is us projecting, or that is us, yeah, it is projecting, but it is our ego. When we're sort of wanting to prove our point, it was just double one. When we're trying to prove something to somebody, even if it's our truth, then that is more seeking validation. You're trying to get your truth affirmed, and somebody else's truth is their truth, so they're not necessarily going to have the same truth as you, because it's different background stories, it's different understanding, it's different intellect, it's different traumas sometimes. Even if you're talking about a sibling or something like that you've grown up together, then their interpretation of how that situation looked and things like that might be totally different to yours, whether they were younger, older, girl, boy, whatever the circumstance. Then that's just an example. But yeah, so yeah. And then just sort of saying, address areas in your life that you are not achieving your deepest truth. I don't think achieving needs to be the choice of words right there, but just where it doesn't feel like that you sort of in your power, that you're able to express your truth confidently. Sorry, I've got a little rabbit over there that he's on the floorboard, so he's just like slippery. So I think achieving is one of those words that can be a little bit triggering for us, because there's so many achievements that we try and boxes that we try and tick and things like that in life. So but just where areas that you can feel yourself maybe sort of shrink back, or go into old versions of yourself, or where you choose to bite your tongue because you're scared how that person is going to perceive you or receive what you have to say. So the point is, when you have filled your cup enough, and when you start to learn to love yourself enough and understand and accept yourself enough and view yourself and your story with compassion, then you sort of filled that self-worth tank, that again, you're not sort of looking for that external validation, that you sort of can be more consistent in your energy. And again, it's not about going around picking sort of fights with, say, older family members and things like that maybe they don't quite vibe with that or resonate with that or even understand that, though. And you can sort of choose your audience, like, sorry, he's on the lounge. You can choose your language on how we choose to deliver it. And if there is something that really is a little bit triggering for you, that is fairly huge, that you want to bring up, then I would say go for a walk in the morning. I would say do some somatic clearing, write it down, clear these things before you come into the person. And even still, like I frequently, if I've got something to say to somebody, or if there's a little bit of underlying animosity or things like that over the years that I've had to clear, and I just say a prayer and I ask for both people, or all people, everyone involved, to see this situation through the eyes of love, or for this situation to return to love, or like literally just give it to God, you know. So there's lots of different little ways that we can get around that. And you know, even when it comes to speaking my truth to my boss, at one stage I had a boss that, you know, it was very much this manipulation, intimidation sort of energy that was over, you know, this group of girls and I. And if you're going to do any kind of work in the background energetically, then make it from a pure space. So then it's received as exactly as that, because otherwise everything else besides pure energy and love is ego and fear. So I actually was doing this thing, I don't even know where I got it from, but that you visualize the person sitting across from you, just cross-legged, with a ball of energy, and just picture as you hand it over to them, sort of saying, we are the same. And then picture them handing it back to you, saying, we are the same. And then again, picture it sort of coming over, we are the same. And then, so the thing is, as you hand it back and forth, it gets bigger every time. So as you're sort of handing it over, and you know, and you're just picturing that beautiful exchange, and picturing them with that same relaxed, beautiful energy back, we are the same. And yeah, and then eventually the light gets that big that you are literally sitting across from one another in the light, just sitting there cross-legged across from one another, saying, we are the same. And I actually done that with 3 different work sort of, yeah, one was the boss, one was a colleague that had worked there for 20 years, and one that had worked there for 7 years. So obviously it was very much their space. And yeah, you know, I come in with my big passionate personality and, you know, not one for rules and things like that. So yeah, there was a little bit of ruffled feathers at one point, but I promise you, I done that exercise, like with the 3 people, and yeah, singly. And then I also said a prayer, and I asked for a divine moment, that it was just them and I, and that it was a relaxed, organic unfold in conversation or approach, and that's yeah, you know, that neither had their backup, or, you know, their ego was in, you know, in place at the time, and things like that. And then I've just sort of, yeah, just sort of, you find the right words when you're saying a prayer with intention, or when you got a scenario with intention, then you find the right words, because you're grounded and you're coming from your higher self, rather than your fear-based ego wanting to sort of come in and on the back foot, basically. So yeah, so anyways, I'm just going to leave that at that for now. So that's ended up, I'm going, that's nearly 20 minutes. So anyways, I just wanted to share that for now, and I hope this helps. Have a beautiful night. Happy healing.